Week 5 college football is finally here. This is Let's Talk College Football. I'm your host, Don Goodwin, and I'm ready to get into this. I'm ready to get excited about what we're about to see this week. And it actually starts Friday night. Now, there is some games on Thursday. I'm not going to take away from that. There's some games on Thursday, but Friday night is a matchup. And is it an upset alert? Absolutely. Will it be one of my upset picks? We'll have to find out right now. But we're going to get into this. So let's just talk about this for a minute. We got the offense. Let's just break down offense and defense for this game. Utah-Oregon State game at night at Oregon State. Oregon State just came off that loss against Washington State. They're upset and everything, and they're going to go. But I want to point this out real quick. Oregon State has a better offense than Utah. They're 72nd in passing yards. They're 10th in rushing yards and 19th in points, right? Where Utah is 120th in passing yards, 56th in rushing yards, and 98th in points. Not good, right? But here's the thing, right? We're gonna do this up. Defensive wise, you're talking about a team that's overall 9th defense in the country in Utah. 9th defense in the country against the 26th in the country for offense, Oregon State. I like that matchup. I do like that matchup. So we're going to do offense, defense real quick. Overall, offense is 113th, and defense for Oregon State 44th. So Utah 113th, the defense 44th. And so I don't like that matchup for Utah at all, but I like the matchup for the defense of Utah against Oregon State offense, and that's what I'm going to go by. I'm going to go by that. I'm going to go by the overall on the defense and everything like that and versus the offense. So let's just look at something right now. So passing yards. Let's go to defense. Passing yards on defense allowed 59th. For Utah, 104th on Oregon State. Rushing yards allowed, 4th in Utah, 8th in Oregon State. I like both of those. I think this is going to be you're going to have to pass to win this game, right? Points allowed, 6th on Utah, 30th on Oregon State. Utah also owns that. Oregon State's offense is better, but Utah's defense is better, so it's strength for strength. We like these strength for strength matchups. I think this is closer than what the we call them experts say. 3.5 goes to Oregon State at home. I like Oregon State. This is my upset pick. I'm going to actually go 1. I mean, if you're a betting man, you're going to go Utah with the points. Go ahead. Because I think it's going to be more like a 1-point difference. Because I think what's going to happen is Oregon State at home with that crowd, they're going to get them pumped up and find a way to win at the end, whether it's a field goal, however. But I believe that this offense of Utah is going to sputter out. They don't score a whole lot of points, but I think they're going to sputter out at the end, where I think Oregon State's offense will be able to move the ball at least to get it to a field goal range. And I think it's going to be a small margin of error right here in this game, because I don't think it's going to be a bunch of explosive plays at all. I think this is going to be one of those close games, low-scoring games, kind of like you've seen when it came to Notre Dame, Ohio State. So keep your eye on that first upset pick. I got number 19 beating number 10, Oregon State at home from getting upset from Washington State. So keep an eye on that. I remember I picked Florida. To go 6-1 into the bye week, going into that Georgia game. They play unranked 4-0 Kentucky. Now they're unranked because they didn't really play anybody, but they got Kentucky by 1 point winning this. The experts. I'm staying with Florida because I picked them to win. But I think it's going to be a tough game for Florida to go into Kentucky to win this. Florida has to play their best game so far this year. They got to play even better than they played against Tennessee. They're going to have to rush the ball. They're going to have to give it to ETM. Stop playing games, because they did not look very good against Charlotte. They're going to have to rush the ball with ETM as the number 1 running back, and Graham Mertz is going to have to be the game. He's going to have to control the game. He's going to be a game manager in this and take what the defense gives you. Control the clock, control the time of possession, control the field. Would be willing to punt and make them go all the way down the field before you make a mistake and give them the ball halfway to the end zone. So be smart, coaches, and control this game and win it. It doesn't matter if you win it by 1 point. It doesn't matter if you win it by 30 points. A win's a win right here. This is where you're going to have to see growth in the Florida Gators. I got the Florida Gators back on this. I think they're going to win this, but I think it's going to be a hard-fought, close game in Kentucky, a must-watch, noon kickoff. And I know what you guys are thinking. There's another game at noon, and we're not going to put a bet on that because I got USC winning this by a lot. I'm not even going to get into that game. I'm sorry. It's just the exposure's been out there long enough. Let's just move on from that. Clemson, Syracuse, the Battle of the Orange. They got Syracuse covering a 6.5. They got Clemson actually winning. And I believe, too, 4-0 Syracuse will go down to Clemson. And it'll be close. I think Syracuse will be able to get in there and do things. I just think Clemson is growing. I seen growth against them in that FSU game. They made some mistakes down the road. And I think the bad play calls that were called, too, as well as execution. But I think they clean it up, and I think they get better and better each and every week as they go through. And I think this is going to be one they're going to win, and their confidence is going to come up from this Syracuse game. I got Clemson going into Syracuse and winning this game. It's not an upset. I just got this, and I thought it would be a good game to bring up because it is an undefeated team and is the Battle of the Orange. But I'm going to go Clemson on that game. All right. So we got a few other ones that we're going to talk about here, and LSU. I got LSU and Ole Miss. Now, I was not impressed with the way Ole Miss looked against Alabama. Right? You had all this talk about Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin coming into Alabama, upsetting Alabama, yada, yada, yada. You're getting pumped up with it. I wasn't impressed. I didn't think they had an offense worth nothing in that game. And we're going to find out right here because I do like Daniels. I like Dart, too. I think Dart's a good quarterback. I'm not going to that game can't be put on him. He gave everything he got in that game, and I think he deserves that respect. I think a lot of it has to do with coaching. Honestly, I just do. But let's just do this breakdown real quick. Passing yards, right? Ole Miss 10th in passing yards. 13th for what I said? I said LSU's. LSU's 10th in passing yard. Ole Miss is 13th. All right. Rushing yards, 38th LSU, 78th Ole Miss, and that's where the problem's going to happen. They can't control. They can't run the ball. There's no play action coming off of that. It's just not. It's not that great. So we'll look at that. Points, 42, 10th in the country for LSU, 12th in the country, 42. That's 42.8 for LSU, 42 for Ole Miss, but LSU's done against better competition, so I think that's the numbers a little bit, iffy on that. So I don't think Ole Miss is actually that good when it comes to the points at all. We'll find out, but we seen it last week, kind of did it. So let's look at the matchup: offense of LSU versus defense of Ole Miss. Offense, 7th overall against 63rd in pass or defense overall with Ole Miss. 10th in passing, LSU. 70th in pass coverage for Ole Miss. 38th in rushing versus 59th in run stop versus Ole Miss. I'll take LSU's offense against that any day, and I think LSU's going to score some big-time points in this game because of that. So let's look at the other side. Let's go to LSU's defense first. Ole Miss's offense. LSU's defense, 69th overall. Wow. Well, I thought they'd be in the 70s, so I guess they're a little bit better than what I thought because I had them like 72, 73 coming into this year, so they're doing a little bit better. 22nd offense from Ole Miss. Not that great, right? But passing, 71st in the country in stopping and passing from LSU. 13th in passing for Ole Miss. Wow. Ole Miss is going to pass that ball, and they're going to score some points, and they're going to get some first downs, and they're going to push this defense on their heels from that. But here's where I think Ole Miss will fail. Rushing, 69th defense, LSU. Horrible. 78th in rushing on Ole Miss. They cannot run the ball. And I think that is going to be their Achilles right there. They can't run the ball. And if if they can get you one dimensional, then fine. We'll rush four, drop everybody else, and force you to run. Force you to do what your weakest opponent or your weakest attribute is. And that's what I think this defense is end up going to do. And meanwhile, I think LSU's offense is a lot better and they're going to score. So I got LSU winning this one for sure. And I got them winning it pretty good. They have Ole Miss covering at 2.5. I got LSU winning this thing by 10 points. So no upset there. I actually think Ole Miss gets exposed and continues to drop. They're 20th right now, and I don't see them the 20th best in the country. Did you hear the numbers I just read? That's not the 20th best in the country. And I think they get exposed and they drop after this for sure. All right, West Virginia, TCU. That is a good game. That's going to be a good game. Good Big 12 game. I actually like this game a lot. They got TCU by 12.5. And I understand that because I think TCU, since that week one, has been growing and maturing and learning who they are. And I really like the way that TCU is playing right now. But I like the way West Virginia is playing too. I mean, they lost against a Penn State team, which is a very good team, a very dominant team. But I do like Penn State in this game. I'm also picking I'm picking TCU in this game as well. And I just think you can't compare these two at all. I mean, you're looking at the offense of West Virginia is 119th. You can't get behind that. TCU 23rd. And they've been showing that they can score, right? Big time. I mean, points, West Virginia is 81st in points. And TCU 23rd in points, just like their passing offense is 23rd. They're 22nd in rushing. It's just a whole lot better. Let's look at the matchups though. West Virginia's offense versus defense. West Virginia's offense overall 97th against the 83rd defense. That's not that good of a defense, and this is why they have to, like when they played Colorado, it was like point match for point match. Their defense isn't great at all. So I think West Virginia is going to be able to put points up. I just think they don't have the offensive firepower that TCU has, and TCU is going to climb this game and continue to move forward, where I think eventually West Virginia will sputter out. But let's look at the defense of West Virginia to the offense of TCU. Overall, we got 11th TCU offense going against the 35th defense of West Virginia. 35th isn't bad compared to some teams, but it's not good. You're not going to stop 11th ranked offense with a 35th ranked defense. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. When you look at this matchup, it's just not a good matchup for West Virginia. And I think TCU's offense is just going to be explosive. So they got them at 12.5. I got them at 14. Pretty close to each other. So we're taking TCU, not an upset. Not an upset alert going on over there. Mississippi State, they can't do anything. So Alabama's going to get another win. They'll go 4-1 after this. Mississippi State will drop to 2-3. They have no offense. They have no offense. It's sad, right? It is absolutely sad. But that's not the only thing sad. Let's look at some of this thing. Let's go to the offenses alone. All right, let's look at the offense. Offense for Alabama, passing, 102nd offense in the country. 58th for Mississippi State. Mississippi State ain't got an offense. Rushing, 64th in the country for Alabama, 84th in the country for Mississippi State. And that's where the problem starts to fall, right there. Points, 61st, Alabama, 57th, Mississippi State. So you would say, man, outside of running, Mississippi State's got them. Yes, but let's look at this. So overall offense, Alabama's 88th in the country in overall offense against the 98th in the country overall defense of Mississippi State. And that's where the problem's going to be, right there. And Mississippi State's offense 74th in the country. By the way, better than Alabama's. I don't know how, because they don't look it. And Alabama's defense is 31st in the country. When's the last time you heard Alabama's defense 31st in the country? Well, the numbers are going to get a little bit mixed up because I think Alabama's defense is going to play well in this game. I think their offense is going to play well in this game, and their numbers are going to get a little bit better after this game. But they had some rough starts. They had some really, really rough starts. They won 24-10 against Ole Miss. It was a close halftime. Barely getting by South Florida. They lost against Texas. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Alabama's just not Alabama. And getting by and winning this game can build confidence. They can continue to grow, continue to lead on this defense as it continues to get better and run game. They don't have a pass game. At least it's a deep throw ball. But look at Mississippi State. Lost against South Carolina, who's a horrible team, 30-37. Lost to LSU, 14-41. They beat Arizona 31-24. They beat SC Louisiana 48-7. And it's horrible. Absolutely horrible. I mean, trash, to be honest with you. I don't know. There's not much you can say to this game. I try to come up with something for this game. There's nothing to say about this game, to be honest. Washington versus Arizona. Arizona plus 18.5 to cover. Washington, a big favorite. I believe Washington's one of the top in the country. I'd probably have them as my true number one right now, and Ohio State number 2 right now, because I don't think Georgia and Michigan's played anybody that hasn't showed that they belong in 1 and 2. When you struggle in the first half and pull out away in the second half against worthless teams, I don't think that's 1 and 2. But who am I? I don't beat the pick. I still got Texas 3rd because I still Wyoming 10-10 going into the 4th. I'm sorry, I can't get past that. That a Mountain West team had a top ranked 3 team in the country 10-10 going into 4th. I know I like Wyoming, but they shouldn't be that good, and I just can't get behind it. And I think that should drop them as well. So that's my thoughts on that. I do have Washington winning that one. Texas and Kansas. I know everyone's waiting to hear Texas and Kansas. You're like, well, you didn't give my guarantee pick. I'm putting my guarantee pick, on Florida. I put my guarantee pick on Florida to go into Kentucky and beat a 4-0 Kentucky team. That's my guarantee pick this week. But here it is. Let's go to Texas and Kansas. And I know everyone's at the edge of their feet. They're like, he still has one more upset. He does 2 upset picks and everything. But am I going to pick this as my upset? Texas, number 3 in the country versus Kansas? I mean, yeah, Kansas had some good games. Don't get me wrong. They look pretty decent. Don't get me wrong. But do I really think that Kansas is going to go out there and beat Texas? That's exactly what I think. I think Texas goes into Kansas. Kansas is hyped up because they're winning. Texas has got all the confidence in the world. Now, don't get me wrong. Texas's defensive line is the best in the country. And I think this is it's going to have a miracle. I'm going on the edge here, guys. I'm going on the edge. I am not the majority. I am the minority in this pick. And I'm doing this because it's what it's about. It's about the upsets, guys. It's about the upsets. And I'm telling you right now, I think Kansas's offense will stay with Texas's offense at home crowd. I think they're going to get hyped. They're going to be loud. And I think somehow, some way, some miracle happens and Texas falls to Kansas this week. I'm trying to pull up some stuff on it, but I'm having a little bit of issues, so we'll move on from that. But Kansas, listen, and when I was going through this, I was like, should I go this way or should I not? Because Texas to me is still a complete team. I like Quinn Ewers. I like Worthy. I think they have the second best wide receiver core in the country. Maybe third. I'd probably put them third. I think Washington second. I think Ohio State first, even though they've had a little bit of a hard time getting it to them. But it's the talent-wise I'm talking about. The quarterback at Ohio State is going to get better and better, and eventually it'll work itself out. But I honestly do believe with all my heart that Texas is probably the third best wide receiver crew, but they have the best defensive line in the country, and that's why I think they're going to win a lot of games. And I can't wait to the Oklahoma-Texas showdown. That's going to be absolutely huge. But I like Kansas. I like Kansas a lot, man. I like the way their offense is playing right now. They got a lot of heart, and we'll see. We'll see if I'm right or where I'm wrong. But that's my two upset picks. That's my guaranteed picks. That's the teams I wanted to break down. And that's where we're going to go with it right there. So this is week 5, college football. Do not forget to stay look pointed into our shorts. We're going to try to talk about some of these games. So Saturday, we're going to talk about where we went right, where we went wrong, rapid reactions. We should have Buck reports coming up next week. Why can I not find this game? Am I picking a week ahead? Am I going to week 6 right now? Oh, my goodness. Well, you heard it here first. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll always admit it. Thank you for watching. God bless college football and God bless America.